What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from Seraph.com. I'm a manifestation coach, and today's video is about coronavirus and what you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones. So, I debated with myself long and hard whether I should actually make this video or not. I eventually decided to make this video because even though many of you will already know the things I'm going to talk about in this video, it is good sometimes when people are panicking to remind them of how to refocus on the things that actually work and produce results in their lives. People who study Neville Goddard's teachings and manifesting in general have been wondering how they can use those techniques to protect themselves and their loved ones from the new health crisis. So the first thing I wanted to remind all of you, or the first thing I want those of you who have never heard about this before to let you know, is that we do not remove things from our reality by focusing on those things. Whether that's a specific person that you want gone, or a third party, or whether that's some health issue or an imminent crisis, you cannot remove something from your reality by focusing on it and trying to actively remove it. Anything you pay attention to in your reality, anything you feed with your thoughts and with your imagination and with your feelings, anything you do that with, it just grows. So, the most effective and actually the only effective way to remove something from your reality, or in the case of coronavirus, to keep it away from you and your life, is to completely withdraw your attention from it. So, right now, the whole planet is slowly going into lockdown and everyone is focusing on this virus. But you do not have to. If you're healthy right now, if your loved ones are healthy, then follow all the medical guidelines, stay at home as much as possible, do not come into contact with people if you do not have to, wash your hands thoroughly. If you're feeling unwell, stay at home, do not come into contact with other people. Even if you do not have coronavirus, that's a good guideline so that you do not transmit whatever you have to other people, even if it's just the regular flu. But other than that, stop focusing 24/7 on what is going on when it comes to coronavirus. The truth of the matter is that for the majority of the population, for the vast majority of the population of the planet, even if they do catch coronavirus, this will be to them nothing more and nothing more complicated than the regular flu. So you have no reason to panic. You have no reason to spend a whole day watching the news or checking your Facebook feed for news about coronavirus. There is a whole load of misinformation going around. I've seen some truly crazy stuff being posted in social media in the last 2 weeks when it comes to coronavirus. And people are panicking for stuff that isn't even real. So if right now you're healthy, if your loved ones are healthy, follow all the guidelines. But other than that, stop focusing on coronavirus. Do something else. If you're working from home, then keep doing your work normally. If you have to stay at home and you have too much free time in your hands, don't spend it on medical sites and on news sites. Do something fun, like spend some quality time with your kids if they're out of school. Reorganize your cupboards. Decide what clothes you need to throw away or give away. Clean the house. Give a massage to your specific person. Read a book. You can do a ton of things that have nothing to do with anything negative, that have nothing to do with anything virus related. It doesn't help if you're focusing on this whole thing, because everyone around the planet is panicking, so this creates an atmosphere where the natural tendency is for you to panic and worry. And for most people, there isn't any reason to worry. It's just the flu for most of you. even if you do catch it, and you do not have to catch it, because if you do not focus on it, it doesn't have to be something you contract, and it doesn't have to be something that your loved ones contract. Okay? So do something fun. Watch Netflix all day. Read books. Watch YouTube videos. Figure out what's the best, yoga program to relax your neck so that you can get rid of your neck problems. You can focus on that instead of focusing on coronavirus or freaking out or emptying all the grocery stores of toilet paper. Okay? So the way to keep anything away from your reality when it is something unwanted is to completely ignore it, to completely withdraw your attention from it. Act as if it doesn't even exist. Now again, I'm not saying stop washing your hands or go out and mingle with all kinds of people for no reason. But in your thoughts, this doesn't have to be something of prominent importance. So, in order to not focus on the things that you don't want so that they will not enter your reality, you have to make sure that your mind is focused on the things that you do want. And this is actually a good thing because at the same time, you're not just keeping any medical threats away, you're also, by focusing on the good things, on beautiful thoughts, you're also going to manifest the desires you have. So if there wasn't an imminent health crisis, if people were not panicking right now, what would you be focusing on? Would you be focusing on manifesting money, a specific person, something else like weight loss? Well, keep focusing on thoughts about already having those things, about how happy you are to have all the money, how happy you are to be with your loved ones. If you have extra time in your hands because you are not at work, or you are at home and cannot go out, and so you have extra time in your hands, then spend it in meditation. Do more imagining sessions. Live from the end and enjoy having all the things you desire to manifest in your life. Focus on that. You do not have to focus on bad things. Focus on the things you want to have. Only use your imagination to feed thoughts and mental scenarios that you want to see in your reality. Refuse to pay any attention to anything you do not enjoy, anything that would be negative, anything that would bring you down, anything that would be dangerous. Just refuse to feed those thoughts. And if the news gets you down, if scrolling down your Facebook feed gets you down, stop doing those things. Just unplug and do something fun. Take a bubble bath. You can do anything as long as it doesn't drag you down. Other people are panicking. You're not contributing to those people. You're not contributing to your well-being, and you're not contributing to the well-being of your loved ones if you join all the people who are panicking, and most of them panicking without good reason. Now, if you do have people who are more vulnerable to coronavirus, if you have people that are older, people that have a compromised immune system, then again, by panicking, you're not helping them. Make sure they stay at home, make sure they're healthy, make sure they have all their needs covered, and instead of focusing on thoughts about how much you worry about them, focus on thoughts of how they're healthy. See in your mind that it's a year from now and you're telling people how none in your family and none in your circle of friends have had any health troubles in the last year. If you're worried about anything like that, if you're worried about your parents or your grandparents, picture that it's a few years from now and you're telling your children or your grandchildren or someone else about how there was this mass hysteria a few years back with coronavirus, and even though everyone was going crazy, things turned out okay for most people, and how you and all the people in your family stayed completely safe. Feed that thought instead of feeding the thought that we need to worry, that we need to be afraid for the lives of the people we love who have a compromised immune system, or the elderly, or anything like that. Think beautiful thoughts. Think happy thoughts. That's how you're helping yourself and you're helping the world. And if you're healthy right now, you don't need to get into panic mode and start looking for things like health affirmations. If you have been healthy up until now, that means that your subconscious mind maintains your health. If you do not constantly have health issues, then there's no reason to be afraid that suddenly something really catastrophic is going to happen with your health. You don't really need to reach for health affirmations. Of course, you can do it if it makes you feel better, but you don't actually need it. And most people who reach for those affirmations, they are doing so because they're in panic mode. They're grasping at something that they feel is their only salvation. And if you're doing it from that point of view, it's not going to be effective because you're still focusing on sickness. So if it helps you stay positive, if it helps you refocus yourself on positive thoughts, on beautiful things, on good and nice and happy things, then of course use any health affirmations videos or guided meditations you can find online. But if you're doing this just because you're panicking, if you're doing this grasping at straws and thinking this is your only salvation, then just stop. Take a deep breath, watch a comedy, do something fun, take your mind off the whole thing because it's not doing you good to focus on it. If you keep focusing on how afraid you are and how everyone is going to get sick and what are we going to do, then you will eventually get sick. It doesn't have to be coronavirus, it can be anything. You may even have an immune response from your body where you suddenly have a temperature and you feel that you have this horrible disease, and it's nothing, it's just you telling yourself so regularly that you have reason to worry and that you're going to get sick, that even though there's no virus there, your body reacts as if you're sick. It happens. So don't make yourself sick and don't contribute to the situation and to the mass hysteria by focusing on all the negative aspects of this thing. There's a bright side to everything. This is a virus that is, for the most part, harmless to the vast majority of the population. It's not pleasant. And yes, there are some categories of people that have reason to be afraid in terms of having compromised immune systems. But it could have been much, 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 much worse. It's not Ebola. It's not something that will wipe out the planet. So just relax, have some fun, watch a movie, do something pleasant, play with your kids, play with your dog, and take your mind off of the whole thing. And this too shall pass. And it doesn't have to be negative. You don't know how this will change things worldwide. Maybe there will be positive changes that come out of it. Maybe people will become more self-conscious and we will avoid something much worse that could have happened in the future. There's a bright side to every situation, so focus on that. You have all the power, so use it to create beautiful things. Thank you so much for watching.